Hello, in this tutorial, I'd like to talk briefly about ControlNet, which is one of the Stable Diffusion's additional package you can load. So in this case, you can see the ControlNet is able to using the depths or pose or other settings to constrain the AI's freedom to generate an image. So for example, you can see this input image provide the depths, also you can do the pose, and then this one can guide the generation of Joker. So the Joker will have exactly the same pose as the input image. So we will using the similar approach here in Stable Diffusion, and I will use pre-created image as ControlNet, and this image is dealing another testing with different text prompt, and then I can loading this image and generate depths. So here is the way you can load the ControlNet. If you don't know where to download, just go to Hugging Face, search ControlNet. You can download this. So I have multiple ControlNet unit. I will just simply activate the 0. And then in the ControlNet, I can set up the depths, Canny, you can have impend, you can have open pose. There's many ways you can generate the control type. So right now, I'm just using the depths. So it will looks like this. It represents the depth map of the original image. Then I can set up the new text prompt. This one is totally independent from the previous one. This one is about a city, future realistic city with, the robots, flying cars, high skyscrapers, all kinds of future realistic, utopian type of style. So I can using this text prompt and using the ControlNet at the same time to guard. So I will record a sequence of experiment I'm doing to make this a little bit faster. You can see I'm actually just loading the real with XL as a pre-configured set, and then I disabled the refiner because I don't want to spend too much time. I reduced the sample steps to 30, just make it faster. Then I do a little bit batch, so maybe 4. You can see multiple iterations. So this is the first attempt I did. So here is the 4 different result. You can see it's definitely followed the original image depths, but it has more freedom to imagine what's the materials for each individual surface. So you have a little bit freedom, but it's within the framework of the original one. Okay, so I will do this demo one more time, just give you a little bit overview of the entire process. So in this time, for example, I have a different image. This is another UI AI generated. So I want to using this one as my guard to create the Stable Diffusion ControlNet. Okay, so first thing I will do is I drag it in to replace my original one. So that's the image looks like. I could use depths, but this time I want to use Canny instead. All right. So when you switch the control type, you can automatically see the preprocessor will be updated automatically. So if I go to Canny and then click this button, right, run the preview, you can see the image looks like this. Right? It's basically detect the edges of the original image. So this is called Canny, but I can still do depths. And here, if I click preview, you can generate the depths, right? So there are different ways you can control. So let me just using the Canny for this test. So just make preview. That looks pretty nice. You could disable pixel perfect if you don't care, they have to be precisely matched. So you can do again. So it's a little bit, deviated from the original, but it's still pretty good. So now I will set the same kind of resolution. This is the same proportion as my original one. It's not very high, and I'm using exactly the same text prompt. Okay, so maybe just do 2 to make it faster. I will click generate. Okay, I'm using NVIDIA RTX, so hopefully this will not take too long. Well, I will probably pause the recording and I will show you the result in a few minutes. Alright, after about 2 minutes, this is done. So let's take a look at the final result. So you can definitely see the edges are preserved. And then the new color, right, this neon hologram color is actually filled up these edges. So it completely looks different from the original image. But if you compare the shape, right, there is definitely a similarities in between because all the edges are preserved. That looks pretty awesome. As you know, I didn't really turn on the refiner. I didn't use the higher resolution. I didn't do the sample steps as 50. That's the reason it still looks a little bit noisy. But if you like it, you can do the append image to image, or you can rerun this with a higher resolution. Okay, that's not the intention for this demonstration. So I will say, hey, maybe I want to give a little bit more freedom or more restrictions to the text. So these values CFG scale gonna dictate how close the image will match with the text prompt. So I can definitely increase this to make it really close to the text prompt. You can also do is to set these options. So right now it's a balanced control mode. You can make the prompt more important, right? I can make the ControlNet more important. There's options here. So let's do this again. I want to make the prompt more important, and also I increased the CFG scale to 9, from 7 to 9. So let's see if this time it will be more like a city, but I think the ControlNet will lose a little bit weight to dictate the outcome. Okay, so let's see the result. Well, as usual, I will pause the video. I will show you the result in the next few seconds. Alright, after another 2 minutes, it's done. So let's take a look at the result. Okay, you have 2 versions. You can definitely see for each version, there's more freedom, right, about the future city. Flying cars, skyscraper is less being controlled by the ControlNet. But you can still see the flavor from the original ControlNet, right? You see this kind of edges, some edges being preserved. You have this kind of rough, ramp, this highway system, this flying island. Some of them is from the original ControlNet. So I think this looks pretty nice. All right. So if you really like it, you can actually download, save the image, and then later you can, bring this into image to image. You can do upscale, and you can refine. I already covered this in another tutorial, so I'm not gonna repeat here. Okay, so close that. So I will do one more test. I think we all understand now what this Canny doing. So I want to actually switch back to depths, because I think depths just give you the volumetric version of the original one. I think this will probably give more freedom. So we'll see. Okay, so I will using the depths this time instead of the Canny, and I will run exactly the same setting, same text prompt. I just want to see the difference. Okay, as you know, I'm still using the I think the ControlNet. The prompt is more important, and also I still using the CFG value as 9, so there's more freedom in terms of the using the text, right? Using the text prompt is more weighted to the text prompt than the ControlNet. Okay. Yeah, so this time I think it does not really do much about the fine edge detail, but it's probably closer to the depth map. Again, I think this will be quite useful for architectural renderings. So if you do have a massing model, a volumetric model without much details, you could, using this as your guideline to generate a new image. Okay. So for example, if you have even a picture, right, of real building before the renovation, you're using the Depthmap, then you can use that to control what is the building map looks like after renovation, right? So you have this kind of consistency across both. All right, this time is really fast. It's actually faster than Canny. And here, let's see the result. It's actually not bad. Oh, this is original volume. Yeah, I actually like this version. Very nice, fine details. So I can save it. All right. Another quick thing is if you do want to test, let's see, I will make the ControlNet is more important. So this one make this black and white image be more important. If you want to do this, you probably want to lower values of CFG. Because this will say I want to be very consistent for the text prompt. But here I want to be consistent with the ControlNet. So there is a conflict between these two. Maybe let's just run this to see what the result looks like. Okay. Yeah. So CFG means text prompt is important. And here I said is ControlNet is important. Let's see what happened. So yeah, you just need to continue to tweak these values to find the right balance. Okay, this is a little bit awkward color. So I will pause and then I will come back. All right, after another 2 minutes, I think this is done. I think the result is kind of funny. So it's definitely understanding the volume, but it's put a lot of weight on the text prompt, try to do the neon light, the future cities. It looks a little bit cartoonish in my opinion. Yeah, so I probably don't like this approach. So maybe I want to lower this value even to 6. So that means you want to respect more on the ControlNet instead of the text prompt. So let's run this one more time. All right, after a few minutes, it's done. So yeah, I think this version is good. I like it. So it has a pretty close ControlNet, right? Yeah, and this version to me looks a little bit too flat, especially for the ceiling part. But this one is really good. All right, yeah, you have some kind of floating hologram features in the sky. Yeah, so this is all the settings you can play with. Definitely there's other things like resolution you can bouncing up. You can do multiple ControlNet from 1, 2. You can add overlay to each other. You can also add a mask, so you can explore later by yourself. As a summary, I feel maybe balance is the right choice. Maybe you want to give a little bit more freedom to the text prompt, to the AI to control using text prompt. So that means that you can bouncing up this to make it follow. It seems like you can even reduce the ControlNet to prompt is more important. You can definitely play with it. And you can also do is maybe play with the different settings here, like for example, normal map. I think for this module probably doesn't really make much sense. But if you have a product, for example, sculpture or a bottle, which have some really nice patterns on the surface. This could be captured as the normal map. You can also do open pose, and we don't have figures, so that makes sense here. The segmentation is trying to understand the ID of multiple objects or segments in your image. Definitely, we don't have any human figure or furniture. It probably doesn't really make much sense to do the segmentation. But they all here you can play. Okay, so I will probably do. Let me see anything else I like. Yeah, I think I covered everything I like to talk. Again, play with it. The soft edge. Oh, this one is actually the segmentation. Is that right? Yeah, this is done. It looks like a soft edge. Yeah, this is a soft edge. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Maybe let's try it. Soft edge, right? And I want to do a balanced in this case. And it's still the future city. Scale, I will maybe just do default. Let's do none, so that's more. Okay, so let's see. Do one more generate. So text prompt is important. Soft edge is a balanced between these two. Okay. Wow, this one is completely ignored the ControlNet. The soft edge doesn't really show up, right? I think this probably is a little bit too much. So let's going back to 7. Yeah, let's let it finish. Okay, now it's done. Well, it looks very nice, but it has nothing to do with our ControlNet, right? It's just, too much weight for the text prompt. Yeah, so I reduce this to 7 and just run this one more time. We'll see if the ControlNet is able to constrain. Yeah, not really. I think the soft edge is a little bit different. Maybe when you do this, you should maybe either control weight, adding a more weight to it, or you can just check this ControlNet is more important. So let's try that. Yeah, this has nothing to do with the original form. It looks nice though. So I'm gonna actually do ControlNet is more important. I'll also maybe bouncing up this to 5 just to test. Oh, it started and ending. Okay, so this is probably related to how many steps you do for the sampling. Maybe I'll just do a consistent, I don't know. The original is 1, control weight, ending control step. Let's just do 2, not too crazy. Okay, let's see what happened if yeah, this is nice, but not really what we want. So we say ControlNet is more important. We double the weight. We also reduced the CFG scale to 7 and generate. So hopefully this time you will see more controlled by the ControlNet. Yeah, the result is better, but still a little bit too much freedom from the original. So let me reset this to even a lower value for CFG and then even higher value for the control weight. Let's do 5, and then let's see what happened after. Yeah, just run one more time. Alright, after a few minutes, this is done again. Yeah, it's really nice, but again, I kind of feel it's lost the ControlNet's influence. Even though we played CFG, I don't think this has a significant influence on the result. Maybe it's just a matter of the soft edge is not as powerful as other control type. So maybe I should go back to maybe to the depths or Canny maybe to the Canny, and then I will run this again. So Canny, I think, has a super strong influence to it. So I will reset this to 1. Yeah, but you can definitely bouncing up the weight, which will capture fine details. You can also do pixel perfect. If I do a fine detail to capture, you will see the result. It will be pretty dense. Okay. Yeah. So that's Canny. Yeah. Then let's run one more time. You probably will see is under very tight control now. Yeah, you see the original shape come back with every single edges being preserved. Okay. Okay. So that's definitely the balance you wanna play with. Okay. Yeah, this one probably is a little bit too strong, right? Yeah. So back to our original setting. I think we need, just simply make the prompt more important, then give a little bit stronger control on the text. Yeah, let's wait until this one finish. Yeah, looks pretty nice, right? It's pretty tight controlled. Then let's do another one with the prompt more important, right? And CFG value as 9. All right, it's done. Let's take a look. That's pretty nice. There is some green stuff stuffed in this individual cell. That looks pretty cool. Maybe some sustainable future vertical farming. Yeah, so let's go ahead, save it. All right, then let's talk a little bit how to upscale or refine the resolution or adding more details. So for example, I'm pretty happy with this one. I saved as an image. Then I will go to image. This is the place you can actually do fine-tune your rendering. So for instance, I have a bunch of files I saved. So this is the vertical garden. This is Canny, ControlNet. Here's another Canny. I think this one is the Depthmap. I think they all looks pretty nice. I kind of like this one, so let me just use it to adding more details. Okay. So first thing you do is drag it into Stable Diffusion Image to Image. If you drag it directly to the text, it will actually show the original text prompt. So that's pretty nice. You can, just using exactly the same one if you don't want to change. Of course, you can change to a different text prompt. And then here is the original image. You can play with the settings. So right now, we just simply do a 2-time upscale. So it's automatically adjust all the settings. I do want a bouncing up resolution. I think the original one is only 1024 by 1024. So I maintain this as a square shape, but I did a 16 by 1600. A little bit higher resolution. CFG scale, you already know, is related to the text prompt. Denoising is about how close this new image will match the original one. If the value is 1, it will basically ignore the original image. But if the value is 0, it will just be perfectly the original image. So you want something kind of in between, 0.6. And I did the generate, and then you see the result. So number one, you'll see the resolution has been bounced up, right, to 1600 by 1600. You also see there's more freedom to actually translate some of these elements into something. The AI will be more, closer to the text prompt, like vehicles, or some skyscraper is totally changed the shape. If I click, the resolution is actually higher. So I think this version is pretty nice. We can save it. Okay. You can definitely try other settings. So if I think, hey, it's too much freedom, I want this be very close to my original image. So you can reduce this denoising strength, make it closer to 0, and you generate again. You will see a closer match with the original image. You see the skyscraper, right? Kind of the same shape. But really depends. If you just want to simply upscale, you can just maintain the value at 0. Then you can just give a really high value for the resolution. This one is actually pretty fast, right? So that's basically the same as the original one. But if we say, hey, I want you have more freedom, and then do again, we'll see. So still using the same text prompt and starting this image, right, instead of a random noise. Well, this result is probably gonna be very different from the original one. Yeah, you see the skyscraper has nothing to do with the original shape. Yeah, that's probably not what we want. Alright, the upscale is done. Wow, this looks nice, but again, it's nothing to do with our original image. That's probably I don't want to use it. Yeah, so you learned how you can do the image to image to upscale. You can definitely bouncing up this very long, high scale. You probably want this be kind of in a controlled manner, 0.6. I would do a really high resolution one. This will definitely take a longer time. So let me just run a full. Oh, this is maximum. You can go 2048. That's all right. So let's go ahead. I will run this one more time, and I will show you the final result. All right. After 5 minutes, this upscale has been done. 2048 by 2048. Wow, we can see amount of details now is within this image. So that means save it, and then let's open the file, take a look. Right, this is the nice details you can only get with this kind of upscale. Looks really nice. Some people are really tall, but super high resolution, very nice details. Some of skyscraper is kind of in the wrong location. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with it. If you do want to actually do more upscale above 2048, you could use other upscale tools, or you can just simply use an extra. This is one I use a lot. So for example, if I have this 2048 by 2048 here, I can just simply do upscale. Probably, let me see which one I want to use. You're using this one, the last one. This works pretty well with the drawings or cartoon renderings. So let's using this one for upscale, and then I can change the scale factor to maybe 2 instead of 4. So the scale will be doubled. So if you run, this is very fast compared to the image to image, because this doesn't really do any of the deviation from text prompt. It just simply upscale the image, adding the missing pixels in between. So you will see this in a few minutes. Alright, after 2 minutes, this one is done. So let me save it. So we can compare the difference. So number one is 20 megabits now. If I zoom in, you see these very fun details. Yeah, really nice. Doubled the original resolution. Okay, the grass just looks more real with fun details. Okay, yeah, I hope this tutorial will be useful for you to understand how to use ControlNet. Right, you can definitely use it as a constraint to set up a framework of your image, We only demonstrated in the text to image, but you can also apply this same technique in image to image as well. See, here's the ControlNet. You can activate, you can do another image with Canny, depths, soft edge, or other things to guard the creativity of AI. Yeah, so feel free. Let me know if you find some really cool way, creative way to using the ControlNet. All right.